What are the easiest and hardest guitar techniques? Well, in this video, I'll be ranking 31 of the most common techniques, not just based on how hard they are, but how much they actually add to your playing. At the end, I'll promote 1 to S+ for being a huge breakthrough for most players, and I'll promote 1 to F- for being an absolute waste of time. Let's jump right in with open chords. If you don't know, an open chord is pretty much just a chord that has open strings in it. Like, you can call that an open chord. Kind of sounds like shit. Here's our G chord, pretty common chord, D chord. They're not that hard to learn. They take time when you're learning them. We'll say they're low, medium difficulty at the time you're learning them, and they're honestly a huge addition to your playing. Like, if you don't have open chords, that's terrible. I'm gonna put open chords in the A tier slot. They're not quite insane, but they're a pivotal guitar skill you really need to be able to play anything. Then next we have bar chords. Bar chords are kind of the following technique you learn after learning open chords most of the time, right? You get your open chords down and then you find out about barring. Well, in terms of hard, bar chords can be pretty hard to learn. I would say that's a solid medium difficulty to learn. But in terms of how much they add to your playing, it's a big variety, right? Adding bar chords in your playing. You can have, instead of these like smaller shapes, a pretty full shape, right? And you can... There's a lot of songs that you really can't play without bar chords, but are they as important as open chords? I'm gonna say no. We're gonna put bar chords in the B tier. And before we get too deep into this, I wanna define easy and hard in the context of this video so we're all on the same page. From the perspective of somebody learning these skills, easy means that it doesn't take too much time or effort to actually pick up and apply it to your playing. Whereas hard means it takes a lot of time, effort, and commitment to get the skill down and use it in your playing. The next skill is going to be scales. Now, if we think about scales, this is kind of a wide skill. You can learn your major scale. You can learn your pentatonic scale. Then you still can't use them. You still can't apply them into your playing. They feel kind of impossible to actually implement. For that reason, scales are probably at the top of the list in terms of hard, and in terms of what do they add to your playing? Well, this is a tough one because a lot of players will learn scales and they'll say this didn't add anything to my playing. I'm just stuck. Scales alone don't add a lot to your playing. However, scales are the root of knowledge in which all of the other skills that we can learn that do add a lot to our playing are based. So without them, you can't even learn those. With scales being such a root skill, I have to put them at S tier. Scales, S, is that not 4 scales? They can be hard to master, which would bring them up on the tier list already, and they're really important, so there's no better place for them to be. Next up is going to be alternate picking. Now, at its core, alternate picking is not that hard. That's gonna bring it pretty down on the list, right? I mean, we're just talking about picking down and then picking up. If you can do that, you can alternate pick. Using it in context, though, can be quite the challenge. As far as the question of how much does it add to our playing, for me, a lot. A lot of the skills I use root from alternate picking. I mean, if we think about what is consistent alternate picking, it's this motion, right? Doing this for forever, right? Using that skill functionally can become a lot of things. If we're talking about like a funky groove, right? Things like that would not be possible without the root skill of alternate picking. So it being easy brings it down, but it being that important brings it up. We're going to put alternate picking into the B tier of skills. It's a pretty important skill to get down, and it's not really that hard. Next up is going to be tremolo picking. Now, tremolo picking is kind of an extension of alternate picking, right? Alternate picking is just picking back and forth in any which way. It could be one string, could be across strings, could be over strings, right? Tremolo picking is when you get on just one string and you really... Let's think about this in terms of easy or hard. I would say it is kind of hard actually to tremolo pick fast and consistently, right? Even me, sometimes I'll kind of slip up and like miss the string or something, even now. That's because it's not a skill I use a whole lot, and for me, I would say it's not one that I feel adds a lot to my playing. If you listen to a lot of guitar solos, depending on what you listen to, you could listen to 50 songs and not hear tremolo picking even once. So tremolo picking is going in the F tier. Fuck tremolo picking. Next up is going to be economy picking. It is a very hard skill to get good at because economy picking comes down to always picking efficiently. So say we're playing a line like, what was it? Instead of just alternate picking that, how can I pick it so that it's more efficient? So I'm going down, up, down, 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 kind of a pull off, then up, up. Because then we're kind of coming back up the strings, right? Or I guess down the strings, so it's easier to pick up on those. So economy picking is a tough skill to get down because it's thinking actively about the efficiency of what you're doing, and it's an important skill because being efficient in your guitar playing is one of the most important things for playing well. Pro guitar players are lazy. I mean, we have to put the work in to get good, right? But once you do that, the question starts to become, how can I play these things with as little effort as possible, as little motion as possible to make it easier and more consistent? That way I can play it better more often. So in that sense, economy picking is pretty important, but it's also pretty hard. We're going to put that into the C tier. We're gonna put economy C tier. Next up is going to be hybrid picking. Now hybrid picking is when you pick with your pick and then also with your fingers. A super common example of this is this little lick in Cliffs of Dover. I kind of waffled it, but you can see it's pick, finger, 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 pick. I feel like I'm going crazy saying that, but you get the idea. That's the skill, and you can also use it on chords, right? Here I'm only using the pick on the low A, and then I'm kind of rolling my fingers up the strings. So how hard is hybrid picking to get down? Well, we're at a skill where it kind of depends on the context of yourself as a player. If you're a player who's been playing fingerstyle for ages, right? And you're also relatively comfortable with the pick, and then you just hadn't thought about doing hybrid picking, it probably wouldn't be that hard. But if you're a player who's never done fingerstyle and you've only played with a pick, and then you go, oh, I'm gonna start hybrid picking, then it's gonna be pretty challenging. So we'll put it as a medium challenge skill to spread the range of context. And in terms of how much does it add to your playing, overall, I guess not that much. I mean, in the context where you need it, it's great. I use it sometimes if I'm soloing, like, it's kind of a different sound, right? Like if I have these double stops with the pick versus with my fingers, it's just a little softer with the fingers. You know, down here even, that's with the fingers. And then with the pick, you can hear it's a little softer with the fingers. I wouldn't say it's that important to get down as like a root skill though. So in that regards, we're going to put hybrid picking at the E tier. E for Next up is going to be string skipping. I kind of mentioned this one earlier on alternate picking, talking about how you can skip strings with it. You don't have to alternate pick for a string skip. A string skip is literally in the name anytime you skip a string, like this. In terms of the challenge of learning string skipping, I would actually say string skipping well is very hard. Because we're talking about when you're learning it going from, likely when you're playing single notes, only going to the next string, like always, all the time, to actually having to go over a string and get to the next string. I'm about to give you a little bit of sauce for string skipping, which is that when you're string skipping, you can angle your wrist to make your life a little more convenient. So let's say you're going down and you have to get over, we're on low E string, well, as an example, 5th fret on low E to 7th fret on A, like this. And I'll even have that A string open, so you can hear I'm actually just not hitting it. It's not like I'm like muting it, right? The trick here is angling your wrist so as you go over the string, you're not picking, lifting, pushing down, and then next string, right? That is such an obnoxious motion. It's like a robot trying to play guitar, right? But that's how most of us try and do this. But what we're doing is angling our wrist so as we pick down, you're actually picking so that the pick goes over that A string and then you push it down. So it's one motion, pick at the angle, go over, and then push it down. Or if you're coming back up, you're already over, just flick it back up. String skipping, I actually feel like adds a lot to your playing. If we're being honest, at least it added a lot to my playing the way I use it. I do a lot of like I was doing that funky groove earlier, right? There's a little string skip there, like it's a lot of variety. Like imagine playing guitar for your whole life and never skipping over a string, right? That would be insane. That would be insane. Because of that, string skipping is going to go in S tier. S for string skipping, S for scales. Maybe we'll put all the S techniques in S tier, who knows? Next up is going to be muting. Now, what is muting? Well, it's not turning your volume off and playing nothing, right? Muting is another variety you can add to your sound. So, let's say we have this lick like this, right? If I muted it, it would sound like this. It's kind of a little duller. I can mute it even more. I can mute it even more. Muting can be kind of challenging because when we're talking about something like that where I'm actually making a super slight adjustment of my hand to create the difference between and a point where at a certain point you can't even really hear the note. So it's pretty hard to get down. All I'm doing at the end of the day is putting not really my palm, I know I can call it palm muting, a lot of people call it palm muting, on the bridge. I'm putting kind of the fat little chunky part of my hand on the bridge and just bringing it up so it's touching the strings a little bit. So challenge-wise, I think the idea of muting is very simple. You put your hand down, you play a note. But functionally, it can be very hard. Because if we're talking about playing like lines like, I mean, you're gonna want some hand motion to play that, right? So you put your hand down, you lose all the motion. It becomes really hard to actually play things like that. So I think it's a pretty hard skill to get down, and I think it's really important. I think a lot of songs use muting, you know? Like, I don't actually know the whole song. What was that? Every Breath You Take? That's muted. What else we got muted? There's that one Red Hot Chili Pepper song, Snow Hay. I don't know if I even know that one either. Dude, I'm only picking songs I don't know. That's crazy work. I think muting is an S tier skill. Muting is pretty important. I think we need muting. By the way, if you really want to lock these skills in, the best thing you can do is be around other players that are shooting for that same goal too. That's why I started a private community only for players who've been playing for over a year and actually play every day. It's completely free, linked right down below, and I hope to see you in there. Next up is muting, but now with our fretting hand. So we had that palm muting, right? Muting with our fretting hand is a little more like, or also, there's some angles to it. So let me give you the angles and then we'll walk through it. The angles, that first thing I played is kind of a funk example. Without picking up my fretting hand, we wouldn't be able to get those scratches. And then the other angle is less genre locked. Not that scratching is genre locked, but it's a little generally funky. Which is muting strings so that you can play all the strings and only get one to ring out. Listen to that, I'm strumming every single string, but only the G string is ringing out. Would you look at that? That's kind of like the John Frusciante style. So that muting is pretty important, right? Let me play that for you without any muting of my fretting hand. It's gonna sound. So maybe you can hear how important the muting is, and it adds a lot of variety to your playing. But in terms of how hard is it, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at my pewter. In terms of how hard is it, I would say it actually is pretty hard to get down. I've had a lot of students in the past kind of take some time to get the muting down in a way that feels smooth, because like we're not used to not playing the guitar, right? We're used to putting our hands down, you know, playing the songies, letting the music flow. But muting comes down to how can I stop the soundies and still make the music flow. So I'd say it's pretty hard. I would say it's pretty important. We're gonna make muting with your fretting hand. We're gonna put it in the A tier. We're kind of missing out on some of the middle section. I don't think we have anything in the C tier yet, so we'll have to find one. I'm looking through here. There's at least one C tier skill in here. There's got to be, right? Next up is going to be rakes. What is a rake? Well, a rake is similar to muting. We mute and rake up the strings, often leading to another note, like bah, bah, bah. Super common in like rock music and blues. Like picture a little blues progression, right? Here's Ain't No Sunshine. I've been playing that a little bit lately. If you want to start a solo in that, a little rake could be kind of diabolical, right? Because imagine without the rake, we just have... But then with the rake, it adds so much more character to that start. And if you're in the context of like grooving on something else, right? There's 2 rakes back to back right there. Maybe more. It kind of adds a lot. It adds a lot of texture because we have no rakes. It's just the note. Versus a little snap on it. A little swat. A little swat. So in terms of how hard is raking, I don't actually think it's that hard. If you're going to learn raking, you probably already have this muting skill. I would hope both muting skills down at least a little bit. Palm muting and fret hand muting. Otherwise, it would be kind of hard because it's kind of a blend of both if we're being honest. So I don't think it's that hard to learn based on where you're learning it at. I do think it adds a medium amount. You know what? You know what? Rakes is our first C tier skill. I think it adds a medium amount to your playing. You know, nothing crazy, but the times when it's needed, it's good, it's great, and it's not that hard to learn. I think C is a good spot for rakes. Next up, we have slides. Hoo-wee! Slides are great. A little... That never hurt anybody, a little... I mean, maybe it hurt the guy trying to learn it for the first time, because I would say sliding accurately can be pretty hard. If we're talking about, like, especially a big slide, like, let me get the no eyes. Not quite. Oh, dude, I skipped it on either side.
Dude, I'm getting
Woo! So sliding can be pretty hard because doing it accurately, like you kind of just saw me fucking it up. That was a little bit of a crazy example, the no looker 12 fret slide. But in general, sliding is hard because like, if you're not used to doing it, you have to move your hand, keep the note ringing, be accurate, have it sound good. It's just a lot to do all at one time. So I'd say it's pretty hard to learn. A little sliding sauce would be to always look. I know I wasn't looking at all earlier, but this is really helpful for getting it down. Always look where you want to go. So say we're going 2nd fret to 9th fret. Instead of trying to follow your hand and like land on the 9th fret, freaking peep up that 9th fret. Like, oh, I see it now. You don't have to be that ridiculous with it, but if you look right at it, it's going to be infinitely easier to slide to it. So slides being, I'm going to say medium hard to learn in terms of how much do they add to your playing? A lot. A lot. They add a lot to your playing. I would say often I'm not soloing for more than 10 seconds without throwing a little slidey widey in there. Why? They sound so good and they're so guitar coded. You know, most other instruments you don't have a whoop, whoop. You get on the piano, you can kind of now I can't. I suck at the piano, but it's a very guitar coded sound to slide on the guitar. It sounds so good. I would say it adds a lot to your lead playing. We're gonna put slides at the B tier. We're gonna put slides at the B tier. They add a lot. They're not super hard, but you need the context to use them. You're gonna be sliding when you're playing open chords, probably. Next up is going to be hammer-ons. Now, hammer-ons are pretty wicked. Hello. So I like hammer-ons. I don't think hammer-ons are particularly that hard to learn. At the end of the day, what is a hammer-on? It's a you just smack your finger down really hard. I think it takes a little bit of that hand strength that we have to develop as guitar players, but it's not like fucking impossible, right? And another tip for hammer-ons here is to hammer on right on the fret. Right on the fret is like this. A lot of us kind of find ourselves back here. It's harder to play anything when you're not right up on that fret. A little behind it, actually. If you're right up on it, it can kind of mute it out, but right behind it is that perfect sweet spot. Never forget it. I love you. I would never steer you wrong, at least not on purpose. So hammer-ons, not that hard to learn. How much do they add to your playing? That's a good one. That's a good question. Thank you for asking. A fair amount, but not a ridiculous amount is what I would say. Like they add like a medium-high amount to your playing. Hammer-ons are pretty huge skill. There's a lot of songs you literally can't learn if you can't hammer on. It also allows you to play faster, right? If we're talking picking everything versus adding some hammer-ons, hammer-ons are going to make it way easier. We're gonna make hammer-ons A tier. Not super hard, pretty additional to your playing, but also nothing crazy. Next up is going to be pull-offs. Pull-offs are actually kind of hard. I would rate pull-offs at least 4 times as hard as hammer-ons, which is tough because most players learn hammer-ons and then go, oh, now I know pull-offs. It's just the same thing backwards. You hear how weak that was, though? And then listen to this. Whoa. The secret is pulling off. When you do the hammer-on backwards, it's more of a lift-off. But when you actually pull down, then you're basically strumming the string with your fretting hand, but on the fret, right? So in that regards, they're a little bit harder. I would say in terms of addition, they add the same amount to your playing, frankly. We're gonna rank them with a variable of 1 less than hammer-ons because I forgot what I ranked hammer-ons. I think it was maybe A, and well, my boy Yinming's gonna put them in the right spot. That's where we're gonna put them. Next up is going to be tapping. Woo! People love tapping. That was my Maui impression, by the way. He does that a lot. I didn't remember that until recently, but he does. Tapping, like, that's like our basic tapping, right? Like the Van Halen on tapping. There's also some kind of wicked tapping, like doing like multiple strings at once, right? Tapping is hard, dude. Tapping is hard, dude. I mean, we've been playing guitar probably for years. You've been playing for years. I've been playing for 20 or so minutes. And all we've ever done is played with our fretting hand, right? Some fucking something, right? And we're talking about bringing the whole other guy, gripping the guitar, dude. You have to have so many other extensive knowledges to make this sound good. Like, let's talk about scale. Let's think about the scales. Back to scales. If you can't visualize, boom, the whole damn thing, you're not going to be able to, like, move up easily, right? If you can't understand your chord tones, you're not going to be able to play, like a chord, right? Like, that would be we got the 1, the 3, and the 5. So that would be an E major chord as a tap arpeggio. But if you don't know that knowledge, you can't do that, right? Oftentimes, and this was me when I was learning tapping, by the way, so I have no hate. When we go to learn tapping, we don't even know what we're doing. We find a song that has tapping, we look at the tab, and we go like, fuck. And then we figure it out, right? That's always what it seems to come back to, is we just gotta figure it out. But I would say it's a pretty hard skill, and in terms of how much does it add to your playing, this one's kind of genre specific. So for all of these, obviously, I'm relating them to my own personal experience because that's everybody's advice all of the time. Side note, only take advice from people who are closer to the life that you want or the skill that you want than what you have. Okay, people only have advice to get them where they are. Nobody has advice to get them to where they aren't. That's a little side tangent for you, and that's deep from my bones. Tapping, for me, has not done that much. I often feel like when I'm tapping, it's really just to mog motherfuckers. Like, I don't really play in a way where it's like required. Something I do like to do sometimes is like, if I'm playing, I like to hold a note down, like, you hear that? That's the tap note. And I can kind of fuck around below it, but that's like such a obtuse way to tap. I don't even know, that's not even really tapping, that's like holding. In terms of this skill, I don't think it adds that much to your playing. I don't. So we're gonna put tapping, it's hard up, it's not that helpful down, I guess in the middle. Maybe tapping's another C, tapping's a C tier. Next up we have bends. That was my Maui impression, don't forget. Listen to this. Whoa, that was a little pre-bend for you. I love bends. I think bends are, I don't want to say an underrated skill, but an under-focused skill. Most players go to learn bends and they go like, oh my God, I got it, right? Oh my God, I can bend now, dude. But what the players who sound like, whoa, how are they sounding that good? How are they doing that? What those players are doing is actually matching the pitch perfectly. So say we got bap, 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 bap. Oh, that second one was a little flat. If you can't bend to the pitch without playing it, you can't bend, period. I mean that. So, in that regards, I think bending is actually pretty fucking hard. I think it is to do well. I think most people, they don't even realize that. And I think it adds a lot to your playing. Think about guitar no bends. What, are we playing jazz? I mean, maybe I'm still gonna be fucking bending. You know what I'm saying? Just like sliding, bending is such a guitar sound. Like, we're playing the guitar, why would we not wanna sound like we're playing the damn guitar? So, in that way, I would say it adds a lot to your playing. Picture your favorite guitarist, picture them, listen to them in your mind. Maybe it's John Mayer, maybe it's B.B. King, maybe it's Santana. All my goats are saying Braden Coughlin. Now, imagine them without bends. Imagine Santana no bends. Dude, there is no Santana no bends, it wouldn't work, right? So, bends is, fuck it, bends is S tier. Bends is S tier skill. I love bending. I couldn't imagine playing guitar without it. Next up, we have vibrato. Vibrato. No, vibrato, right? A little wah, a little wah, 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 wah. There's a lot of ways to vibrato. We got slow and subtle, and big and fast. We got it inside of a bend, right? There's so many ways to vibrato, we should ask ourselves, how hard is it to learn? I don't think it's that hard to learn from a technical sense. Vibrato's kind of just like a little wiggly guy, a little kind of like your... So I don't think it's that hard to start learning, but I do think it's like... I do think it's challenging to make sound really good. Because a lot of players go to vibrato and they're just like, this is POV, you just started vibratoing. And if you throw that into a solo, right? I mean, it doesn't sound awful, but like a little more subtle could be nice. I like kind of a medium-paced, medium-subtle vibrato. That's my go-to. In terms of how much does it add to your playing? Ooh. I think vibrato is one of the character sounds of most guitar players. Like, when you listen to a guitar player and you think like, oh my God, they have like their own sound. A lot of that is probably their vibrato. Santana's one of those players. So, vibrato's going A tier. Now, it's not super hard, but it adds a lot to your playing. And next up we have sweeping. What? Everybody's most controversial guitar skill, maybe. Now, not to spoil where I'm gonna rank it, but I'm not the biggest sweeper in my playing. I do like a little triad sweep in the middle of a little solo, like. But how hard is it to learn though? How hard is it to learn? Pretty hard to learn. Sweeping's one of those advanced guitar skills. I would put sweeping at like, I don't want to say the hardest guitar skill, Top 5% probably. Like actually extending it. Like I'm not even that good at sweeping. If you look at like these Steve Vai type motherfuckers, or like Satch or whatever, or like some of the metalheads, they're going like way up the freaking neck, right? I can pretend. But see, it sounds like shit though. So sweeping's a pretty hard skill. In terms of how much does it add to your playing, it depends who you are. For me and my folk, it doesn't really add that much. It's kind of like I said, a little sauce to kind of throw in. Like, but if I couldn't do that, would I be that sad? No. You know what? Just for the memes, sweeping's going in the F tier. Debate me. Next up is harmonics. Now, how hard are harmonics to learn? I think that's a low medium. I think harmonics are deceptively challenging, but not absurdly challenging. And the reason I say deceptively is because when someone tells you how to do harmonics, which I'll do right now, you put your finger over the 12th, 7th, or 5th fret, right over the fret, and just touch the string and play it. Sounds a little, yeah. So it's deceptively challenging because when someone says that to you and then you go and try and do it, it's not going to sound the same if you've never done it before. But it's not that hard. And now, how much does it add to our playing?
2,000 years later.
I don't really use it at all, frankly, if I'm just being so dead ass. I mean, I like using it sometimes, but I'm trying to think to myself, like, actually playing a show, actually playing at a gig, actually jamming. Do I really use harmonics? No, I don't. So harmonics, not that hard, not that good, little cringe. Harmonics are going in the F tier. Let's just load up the F tier. Next up is pinch harmonics. Pinch harmonics are actually hard as shit to learn. Seriously, try and do one right now. Let me tell you how to do it. You fret a note, and then you want to go roughly 24 frets above it. And then you want to pick, and then after your pick, you want to thumb. You want to pick and then touch it with your thumb. How much does it add to your playing? This is another genre one, and also another one that I don't use personally. So I'm kind of skewing the rankings to whatever I feel. That's kind of how tier lists work at the end of the day. Honestly, I'm just gonna preemptively put pinch harmonics in F-, bruh. Yeah, fuck pinch harmonics. Next up, we have fingerstyle guitar. Fingerstyle guitar is goated. Goated. I like to see a motherfucker try and do that with a pick. Haha, the motherfucker's me. I mean, you can see though that the pick version kind of sounded like shit. That's a pretty advanced fingerstyle, obviously, right? I don't expect you to first ever fingerstyle song be whipping out Mr. Sandman by the old Cheddarmeister. Well, that's pretty hard, dude. That took me so long to learn, by the way, so fucking for real. A couple years ago, I used to have a job playing music at elderly homes or retirement homes, whatever you want to call them, and even my boss was like, Braden, why did you learn so few songs? And I said, I wanted to spend a month and a half learning this one. Anyway, that was neat. Now I know it, right? So it kind of works out at the end of the day. There's easy and hard fingerstyle songs. Let's talk about like Blackbird, right? I don't even know it, I guess. Blackbird's not that bad to learn. But something like, you know, Mr. Sandman, that's an insane one to learn. So I would say fingerstyle as a full skill is very hard because we're talking about like a whole nother world of playing guitar fully. how much does it add to our playing? I would say also a lot. We're talking about, like I said, a whole nother world of guitar playing. For that reason, I'm putting fingerstyle guitar way up at the freaking top at the S tier. I think fingerstyle guitar is huge. I think learning fingerstyle guitar is slept on by a lot of, especially electric players who just want to be like, rock and roll, dude, I'm gonna play with a pick. That's you, by the way. I was impersonating you. I don't mean that. I love you, okay? Next up is percussive guitar. Now, in that last example, I did a little percussion. This is typically like an acoustic thing, by the way. So that's percussive. If you're on acoustic, you can also hit a bass like boom, and then like a doom, doom, doom. Like while you're playing, like. You can't really hear it right now because like I don't have that. But in terms of how hard is percussive guitar, I would say very. I mean, if you look at these players like Marcin or like Mike Dawes or Tommy Emmanuel, dude. Find a Tommy Emmanuel clip and put it on screen right now. Do you see this guy? This guy's insane. And in terms of how much does this add to your playing? Well, similarly to fingerstyle, it's kind of a whole nother world. These players who are doing this really well, they kind of commit their entire lives and their entire guitar playing to doing it. How much does it add to your playing? I guess depends. It's another one that kind of is like, what do you want to play? For me, I was gonna say it didn't, but I play pretty percussively a lot actually. Like even you saw that Mr. Sandman. Well, especially when I'm playing acoustic, just kind of grooving. I'm kind of like I like a little sauce. And then with the pick, you can do the same kind of little. You can do the slap with like a little mute. And I do that all the time too. So for me, I guess it's added quite a lot. Maybe percussive guitar is another S tier skill. We kind of are ending out on a bunch of freaking bangers. Next up, we have ghost notes. Now, what the hell is that? A note that's like dead or something and it's floating around and shit? No, that's not what we're talking about. Who gave you that idea, dude? Shout out if you made it this far in the video, by the way. I think it's kind of a long one by now. Ghost notes are great. I use them a lot in my lead playing. It's similar to that like funky thing, right? I would even call these a branch of ghost notes. But I think of ghost notes often, I would sound a little New Jersey, in my lead playing, like. There's also this, oh my God, this is such a good example of this that nobody knows. This song, Gray Sun by my boy, Old Crab Hands. He does this little like, there's a da da da. You almost hear da, like that note. But I'm not even playing it, dude. It's such an insane example of this. You hear the note just with the mute, like it almost sounds like I'm playing da 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 da. But look at my hand, I'm not playing that note at all. Say a little prayer, sit in silence. But how hard is it to actually learn these ghost notes? I think in the context of when you're learning them, it's not really that hard, right? I mean, if we're talking about you already know this muting skill and you're just trying to add it to your lead playing, I don't think it's that hard. How much does it add to your playing? I think it's also like a medium amount. We're gonna put ghost notes at C tier and then we're gonna go into volume swells. So volume swells are, I'm gonna actually say very hard to learn, by the way, because we're talking about you're playing guitar and you have to have your hand on the volume knob, ready to bring it up. How much do they add to your playing? Not a lot most of the time, but when it adds, it does add a lot. I just joined this this indie band. We're called Attic Sync, and we don't exist anywhere. But there's a couple songs, kind of the, you know, the like chill indie type shit. An example I'm thinking of is Iodine by Pine Grove. If you know that song, shout out. I didn't choose that one. But in some of the songs, having those little vibes, especially I get the delay pedal going, so the band's kind of playing some like chill stuff, and then I'm just going like in the background, right? So they do a little vocal line, I go like, kind of copy the line. That kind of sounded like shit in the context of what I was playing before that. But I think it's pretty hard, and I think it doesn't add that much to your playing. We're going to put that one at C tier. Now for the promotion and demotion. Now we already know, I said it earlier, Sweep Picking is going F- because I fucking said so. What technique though is going all the way up to S+? Let me read through my weekend list, dude. I honestly think I have to do a callback, and you're gonna hate me for this. You're gonna say, Braden, that's cringe, that's a boring skill. I don't care personally. If I cared what people thought about me, I probably wouldn't make so many videos on the internet. I'm gonna put scales in S+, dude. Scales are busted. Scales are insane. Nobody learns them well enough. I don't know them well enough. There's probably 6,000 scales I still don't know. It's a hard skill. It's an important skill. You need it more than you'd like to say. Scales is going S+. Now, what is a scales exercise you could do that makes it worthy of that freaking rating? I really like to play my scale in thirds. So we have, let's say, our major scale here, right? Play the first note, skip a note, play the third note, come back, second note, skip a note, play the fourth note, come back, third note, skip a note, play the fifth note, come back, fourth note, skip a note, play the sixth note. I think you get it now. Do that with a metronome for 10 billion hours and you will be God. And if you're tired of putting so much time in the guitar without truly getting it, then check out this video right here to see how I take people from just playing to becoming well-rounded players.